the bow ladders here, how we get on and off. Sometimes we tie up to a rock, sometimes we have to put a piton in to tie the boats to. See, we have the pitons here. This is what the islands look like.
Really tranquil.
Most of you can see the buildings are never level. Here we are having beer, I guess. We tied the end of this guy's dock, or this town's dock, and we were having a perfectly nice time having a party on the dock, drinking away, and all of a sudden, the Coast Guard came in. And we didn't know what they wanted. They came and they tied their boat to rocks over here, and they scrambled around, and they wanted to know how we got there and what we were doing there. And we said, "Do you want to see any papers?" They said, "No, but can we see down below?" So we took them down below, showed them the boats, and we gave them hors d'oeuvres, we gave them a beer. They were perfectly nice, and there was a woman who was they elect who was going to be captain that day, and the woman was elected to be captain and cook. So she was screaming at them to come back and eat their salmon. Here we are again. This was an island we went to for midsummer. So we dressed ship for midsummer. This was the guy who ran the island. And they had these great midsummer parties over there. I guess when you go through a long winter, summer is pretty important. They were giving us some of their pickled herring. They all put up herring. We're sitting there eating it and drinking aquavit. Big long table full of people. Then they made their summer pole. The little kids got into it. Put it down, put it up. Then they had a big dance around the summer pole. This guy was pretending he was a washing machine. And then we came back to the other side of the island for dinner, and these people invited us to join them for a barbecue. And they started playing music, and they played all American music. It was Tennessee Ernie Lee and the Kingston Trio. So this is midsummer, and that was about 11:30. We met up with Rusty again. We went to Bisbee on Gotland. These are just some shots of Bisbee. This was the capital of the Hanseatic League.
Beautiful.
Blue Magic. You'll notice that all the pictures of Blue Magic shoot behind us. This was a place where you couldn't go bowing, so we went sliding. And we actually just went right up to the rocks and tied to the rocks, and we had to put a line down to haul ourselves up. Lloyd was worried about snakes. They do have snakes over there. More blueberries, blueberry pancakes. The little boat that came in next to us.
Did you say there was no tide, Thacher?
No tide at all.
Okay.
Not an inch. Actually, I'll go back to that one. This is in Kalmar. This was actually the capital of Sweden for a while when it was part of Denmark. And this is a little island off the coast of Sweden called Clifton. It's just a whole bunch of rocks. It was taken over by the Germans early in the war. And it's just a bunch of rocks. It was very, very rough. And we ended up there with a bunch of other boats. There's Murph Andrus. And this was the harbor master. He came rowing out in his dinghy, and he came to take our fee. And he was such a nice guy, we said, "Would you like a drink?" He said, "How about a scotch?" There he is sampling some of our scotch. This is leaving New Clifton. And we went to this place called Christiansø, which is a Danish island. We actually tied up in this area here, and it was very narrow, and it was absolutely chock-a-block full of boats by the end of the day. That's one end of the opening. You can see the boats are starting to come in. Rusty's fending some guy off from my boat. This was the fishmonger. The boats just kept coming in. This was another fish store. This is actually a Bornholm. Once we got to Denmark, they really didn't have much in the way of natural harbors. You lost they're still islands, but they actually have all these man-made harbors, which is, Denmark was great, it was different, but they didn't have the natural islands that you have in Sweden. Another harbor master. the rock climb. They have great cliffs, like the cliffs of Dover. This is the island of Mong in Denmark. This is Rusty and Bessie, they think they're in Point Pleasant. This is Eastad. I don't know if you know about Kurt Wallander and the Swedish Mysteries. They were all Eastad. Another harbor master. Okay, we've gotten through 2 years. It speeds up now. This is 2009. 2009, we now left the Baltic, and we're coming up here through the Kattegat and the Skagerrak, which are two cruising grounds. We started over here, went around this island, up to Göteborg, on up to Oslo, and we came back down and ended up back in Svenborg. Started out with our vegetables, and we took off. There was a pretty good amount of wind over there. We spent a lot of time just under Jib alone, because there was enough wind to move us. There are tons of wind vanes over there. A lot of, on land and on sea. This is an island of Samster, which is totally energy self-sufficient.
Wow.
Lots of flowers over there in the springtime. Fish market. Here we are on our bikes. Kellogg's have these little tiny bikes that collapse down. You fold them out, and it's just like a big bike. Our bikes were also folding bikes. So every time we got an island, we'd go for a bike ride. This is obviously a dentist's office. You didn't want to go there. This we had a hard time figuring out. This is instead of having dryers over there, they have spinners. And then I guess you have dryers, but you had to spin your laundry. Now that we're out of the Baltic, you're going to notice we're wearing foul weather gear a lot more. It didn't rain much in the Baltic. This is down below on Rusty's boat. Here are the boats tied up over here. We hiked around here. But this is the kind of cruising grounds you see. This was off the coast of Sweden, western Sweden. This was the 4th of July. We made these out of napkins. A little village. Lots of seafood once we got out of the Baltic.
Is the water salt?
It's salt water here. Once you get out of the Baltic, it's, the North Sea is salt.
Oh,
Two daughters came over to be with us. This is Rusty not doing push-ups. He was blowing on our coals. Cooking steaks. And he was pretty good at it. We ended up getting cooked. This day was so hot. The water temperature was probably 78. This is right off the coast of Norway. They are not big on the EU over there. And of course, Norway is not in the EU. Norway used to be the poorest country in Europe, and then they discovered oil, and now they're far and away the richest. Here again, we're tied up to a rock, and we had to shinny up this line to get off the boat. Just really worked.
Thacher, how deep is it while you're tied up to those rocks?
Actually, there was a rock right behind us, but it tends to be maybe 15, 20 feet. The terrain underneath usually is just like it is here. So down below, you probably have that same wall going right down. Lots of fish markets. This is an old Norwegian church. Okay, now we have another 4th of July. We dressed ship, and we got so excited because this is the King of Norway's boat, the Queen of Norway's. They dressed ship, and we found out it was the Queen's birthday. It had nothing to do with us. We were celebrating. This guy just drove right up into the harbor with his fish in the back of his boat and was selling right off the boat. It was Rusty at the end of a tough night. This is, they've got these great statues all over Oslo. Then we took a train, we went across to Bergen, and we went across the top of Norway, this train. And this is Bergen. We were off the boat for about 7 or 8 days. In Bergen, looking down from the top of the hill. We've got trolls all over the place in Norway. This is a typical fjord of a church. More hikes. This is actually where we were staying, up this one fjord. Then we drove from there to Trondheim, and we were driving through an area like this. And this is something called the Trolls Highway. And the trolls must have had a lot to drink before they built it. It's a bit windy. And this is all Norway.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Lots of little villages. And then as we were heading back, this is Peter Anders, and we're heading back at the end, and it was a little rough.
Yeah.
The ladies got some ice cream. They know how to do it over there. We were having people bring a bottle at a time. They had a big rum drink and a big vodka tank. And we just said we wanted some fuel, and they had to bring that in by.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to Spenberg for the year, and it was pretty rough going in, but weather then got better. So that was the end. That's Betsy going home. So now we've gotten to 2010. 2010, we started here with had a crew, a boat move crew, and we took, this is 690 miles from here over to Inverness, Scotland. And we did that in, I think, 4.5 days. We stopped at this island, we stopped at this island, then we stopped in Norway and bought some fuel so we could prove we left the EU. And then this was our only real long passage. It was 2.5 days, or a little over 2 days. I actually put my running backstays in. We were so nervous about the winds. Rusty and I were trying to figure out where we're going. And it was very windy going across. This is just leaving Denmark. And it was cold. I'll tell you, all the cold pictures, though, were blue magic, because we weren't cold in our boat. No. We have a bimini in our boat that we put on for sun, and we ended up using it for rain. So we use it a lot. Here we are when we arrived in Norway. That's my boat move crew, my sister Sandy. There are so many oil wells in the North Sea, you would not believe it. Everywhere you look, there are oil wells, particularly at night. They're all lit up, and there's lots of boat traffic moving back and forth. Again, this is Rusty's boat. You can see it's blowing. Here's the oil wells in the background. And we finally got to Scotland. Changed our clothes when we got there. On our boat. First thing you do, we got to Inverness, and the first thing you do is you have to lock out of the sea, because you're in the ocean, and we locked up into the Caledonia Canal system, which I'll show you in a second, goes through the top third of the island. So we went from saltwater to freshwater. Here we are going into the locks, and you can see we've got to go up about 10 feet to get out of the ocean. Here we are at the top. They've raised the water level now. This is kind of interesting. In every country you're in, you fly a courtesy flag, and this is the British courtesy flag. You don't fly the Scottish flag there because the Brits get mad at you. And you can see we've got our UK courtesy flags. Here's a Union Jack, and here's a guy with a Scottish flag. And this is actually a slide that Rusty gave me, but the way you get the Union Jack is you start with the Scottish St. Andrew's flag, you take the English St. George's cross, and the Ireland St. Patrick's cross, you put them all together, and you get the UK flag. And that's how they designed it.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Here's the Caledonia Canal. The Caledonia Canal, you start in Inverness, you go through Loch Ness, which is a long body of water here, and then there are 2 other lakes on the way through. It's 60 miles and 29 locks. So you lock up about 120 feet, and then you lock down 120 feet. And this is basically where we sailed when we were in Scotland. This is these are the Hebrides. That's the Sea of the Hebrides. Here we are in the locks. That's my nephew Jake and Hallie, Sandy's children. This is a series of locks. There are actually 7 locks as you go into the lock system. You just go boom, 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 and you go up going into Lake Loch Ness. And as you're driving up to the lock, this is the water flowing out of the lock above.
Did you see the monster?
We didn't see them. And this is the boats. You can just see boats going through the lock, through the canal system. Rusty and Betsy.
Oh, I'm making this guy.
Somebody doing their laundry. Once we got to Scotland, there were a lot of castles. Most of them look like that. We are coming into a lock. This was kind of interesting because this guy, what you do is you take your line and you put it around a cleat or a bollard or something, and then you ease it off as the water's going down. This guy's line got caught in his cleat, so his whole stern picked up, the water was dropping out, and his mast came over to within about a foot of our mast. And eventually the lock guy saw it and he put water back in and refloated the guy. Of course, he was an American too. This was the best part of Scotland. They have the most unbelievable single malts there. And we got to be connoisseurs. And Rusty having one. Sister Sandy and Steve. And this is the other end in Fort William. Once you come out of the lock system, this is called Neptune Staircase. And those are our 2 boats up here. Then we went out to Tobermory on the island of Mull, which is a very cute little town, a beautiful island. And that's what the Scottish countryside looks like, off the sheet. And we were at the train station getting rid of our crew. This was a Duart Castle, which we visited. We anchored off in front of Duart Castle and went up for a view of the castle owned by the Clan MacLean. Lloyd driving the dinghy. And this is Oban. You may have seen Oban, Scotch, but this is the town of Oban. We ran across his wedding. This was kind of neat because the first couple years we were over there, we were able to fill our U.S. propane tanks, but in Denmark they wouldn't fill them. So we ended up buying a UK tank, and we had to retrofit it so that we could feed our tanks by gravity. So we gravity fed them, and we actually put our tanks in cold water to get them really cold because the propane would flow better. Anyway, nobody would come near us because they thought we were going to blow up. Another hike. This was a hotel in Oban which has the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club flag, Cruising Club, and New York Yacht Club. Kind of neat. The guy that owns us from Bermuda. Here we are at another castle, Andy and I. Daughter Lily. This is when Andy was over and the weather wasn't great.
What was the month?
This was July.
One move up.
Yeah. Down below. Another 4th of July. This was the island of Iona, where the Book of Kells was written. Still Iona. Scottish Highland cows, very friendly. I don't know how they can see. This was there's a typical passage. This is the Mull passage here, but that's the kind of cruising grounds you're in. Lots of flowers. This is the Harry Potter Railroad. The Hogwarts Express went on that railroad. We're biking. There are incredible tides here. This is actually where we were in Ardfern, where we kept the boats for the winter. But the tides there are about 13 feet. Lots of standing stones. That's Cindy Kellogg and Betsy and Lloyd. I was working. Rusty was working. Peter was working. And we had cocktails. We actually joined the Royal Clyde, not the Royal Clyde, the Clyde Cruising Club's 100th anniversary. So this was their 100th anniversary cruise. Lloyd found this antler which we used when we dressed ship, with our Union Jack on. The currents over there are unbelievable. They have this one current called Korea-Becken, which actually has a whirlpool. And if you get into it at the wrong time, it'll just spin your boat right around. Maybe not a boat as big as ours, but a smaller boat. And this current here is flowing at about 8 knots. This was the Clyde Cruising Club race. You'll notice they're all behind us. We did leave the start about 20 minutes early. Most of these boats all started at the right time. Seals. This is, we're back in Tobermory at a party. The Royal Clyde, or the Clyde Cruising Club had a sunflower raft. This did not break their record. The record was broken a couple years ago at 190 boats, but this is 186 boats. All with dress ship in a sunflower. Typical guy walking around. Guy with bagpipes and a dinghy. Lots of castles. In Scotland, when you cruise out into the Hebrides, there's a place called Artermerchant Point. When you go around Artermerchant Point, you're meant to toss a heather to your bow. It shows you've been around Artermerchant Point. So that's our heather. Got a big beach picture. This cruise was a 10-day cruise, and they had 3 events, and every day they had an event, the weather was perfect. Every other day was awful.
Are you joining those bodies? Is that?
We joined as the Cruising Club of America was part of their cruise.
Right.
They have real beaches over there, just like Bay Head. You can see how pretty these beaches are. Some of the castles are not in great shape. On the islands we went to. This was kind of interesting. There were lots of signs or tombstones for unknown sailors that washed up. And the Brits lost about 1 out of 25 merchantmen died during the war, and they would wash up on some of these islands. So as you can see, they're all from the 39-45 war, no known to God. It was found in October, it was found in September 1940. Lots of puffins. This is the island of Staffa, and what's it called? Mingles Cave. It's a strange rock formation, lava formation, and Felix Mendelssohn actually wrote about it. He wrote a song about it, music about it. There's Rusty. At the end of that year, he retired. So now we're at the last year. We left the boats for the winter up here in near Oban, Ardfern. We started out by going out to some of the outer Hebrides, or the inner Hebrides. We came back through a canal here towards Glasgow, came down to Campbelltown, and down the coast of Ireland, and around to Southampton. So here we are doing our propane thing again. We waited until the boatyard was closed. I didn't think it was a very good idea. This is Ardfern where the boats were. And the crew rolling the sail. They have lots of basking sharks over there. We thought this was a giant something, but it was just a basking shark. This is the Isle of Jura. Many of the islands have single malt distilleries. And we did get into the single malt. The canal, the Crane Canal is hand operated, so we had to take these big long doors, and you have these long poles that you use to open and close them. It's a very narrow little canal. Sometimes you bump into the side. And this is, we've gotten through the canal, and off somewhere from there. And then we get Bob and Becky Clark. They joined us in near Glasgow. Another distillery, this is in Campbelltown, just before Bob gets cold. Just before we head over to Ireland, and now we're in Northern Ireland. We came into Belfast, and it was right after, they have troubles every year about this time, it was right after some people have been killed, but I guess that happens with that. We have lots of biking around here. This is the Royal Ulster Yacht Club, and I didn't realize this is the club that Sir Thomas Lipton challenged out when he challenged for the America's Cup. So they've got all the Lipton memorabilia there. We did a lot of autopiloting. We are having breakfast. It looks like all we did was eat. More castles. And now we are in, I guess we're still in, anyway, this is the 4th of July, now we're in Dublin, outside of Dublin. Back with the spinners and the dryers. Not quite sure how it works. The bottom of Ireland is a place called Kilmore Key, and they were having a giant fish festival. We got all sorts of fish to eat. We went to the parade, or watched the parade. It was a cute little village, and we took off from there and went down to the Scilly Islands at the bottom of England. This is an Irish courtesy flag of somebody who went Tiger. And we're going offshore to explore the Scilly Islands. We don't have many pictures of. This is the kind of weather report we get over there. Cyclonic 3 or 4, occasionally 5 near Land's End. At first becoming north or northwest 4 or 5. Rain or showers. Visibility moderate or good, occasionally poor. Stay slight or moderate. So what's that tell you? I think it says you're on your own. These guys wanted to know what we were doing there. But we told them we cleared in 4 years before, and they said fine. This is Land's End. We went to Penzance because we wanted to see what Penzance was like. We hadn't really planned to go there, but you had to get there at a certain time because they had a gate. And if you don't make it inside the gate, you go in here, they close the gate, keep all the water in. If you don't make it inside the gate, you have to be out here. And when you're out there, the only good thing about being out there is you can walk your boat. This is obviously a very old historic town. This is, I don't know what it's called St. Michael? It's like some Mont Saint-Michel, and Mont Saint-Michel's something to it. This was the Maltese Falcon, and the transatlantic race ended when we were in Falmouth, so all these boats came in. They were the first one in. This is Falmouth. And then we had Princess Anne, who was right next to us. She got on her boat. Bob and Marcy came over again. Marcy doing her exercises. Again, we're autopiloting. This is the typical coast of England. Yeah. We actually found that cruising in England was great. A lot of tide and current, but it was very pretty. This is the Needles off Cowes. And finally, after 5 years, Rusty put up his battle flag because as we were going in, all of these old boats were coming out with battle flags. So he put up his Blue Magic battle flag. Peter gave.
Very good.
And since this is a boat museum, I got some old boat pictures for you. These guys were all coming out that day. This is the town of Cowes, Beckham of Cowes. This is how they greet people at their yacht club. This is the Royal Sailing Squadron. If you don't have a pass, they've got cannons. We didn't have as much scotch here, but they sure had a lot of beer. So then we took the boats to Southampton, and here we are with the same vessel that we loaded on in Newport, came to pick us up. And you can see them picking Blue Magic up there. Picked our boat up, and here we are. We're just behind the smokestack here. So that's behind us. We're in front of it. I was kind of down in the hold there, and Rusty was up there. And when we got to the United States, Rusty unloaded the boats in Newport, and the customs people came out. We were smuggling so much scotch back on our boat that we couldn't believe it. And also all of Lloyd's purchases. This dark blue boat up here was a brand new boat, it had nothing on it, and that was the only one that they looked at. and then the guy came over to Rusty and he said, now how about that other boat? Maybe I should go talk to them. And Rusty said, oh, he's already left. I wasn't even there. So here we are coming back into Bay Head, and all of our courtesy flags up. And that was where we went.
Wow, wonderful.
We gonna go again? That's a really good question. We went, it was a 3-year deal and it took 5 years. And we're glad to get back, and now we're kind of talking about maybe going back to the Med. But we got to talk Rusty into it. I'd like to go back.
How many days did you have in Norway of sun and warmth?
Norway was hot and sunny the whole time.
It was?
Yeah. So, some of the swimming, my 2 daughters when they were swimming, that was right off Oslo.
Wow.
And Norway was probably the warmest we had.
Did you have any nights?
Anyway,
Did it get dark at night in Norway?
it gets dark at about 11:30, and the sun comes up at about 3:30.
Oh, right.
So I mean, it never gets really dark. We went over with shades that we used to cover the portholes, but we didn't use those after the first.
We got used to it.
We got used to it.
What, tell them about when you're going to go to the Mediterranean.
Well, the thing, we never wanted to go to the Med because it's hot and it's full of beautiful people and big stink pots. But I read this article about cruising the shoulder season. So if you go in May and June and September, nobody's there and it's meant to be great weather. And so that's what we're thinking of doing. And then we come to Bay Head in July and August and sail against Charlie.
Did you ship the boat down?
We should. It's cheaper to ship a boat than to sail it for us.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
How long did it take for the boats to go over on the big boat?
That's a good question. It doesn't take that long, but they took a long time. It was on this Sumagrat, which is it carries a pole back and forth, and they picked up a cargo in Jamaica of bauxite, and they could not unload the bauxite when it was raining. And they were unloading the bauxite in Rotterdam. It rained for 3 weeks straight. So our boat was hung up in Rotterdam. We were in Finland ready to receive it, and we had to kill time for 3 weeks.
Wow.
It takes about 8 days to come across. When we ship it from Southampton to Newport, the captain said, "I'll see you in Newport in 8 days," and you can watch them on your computer coming across the ocean. And all of a sudden, he took a left-hand turn and went to Jacksonville. And then they stopped in Baltimore, and I called him up and said, "Why don't you drop the boat in the Chesapeake?" And they said, "That'll be after 5,000 euros." We picked it up in Newport. But it was still only about 12 days, 12 or 14 days.
The fish in the Baltic, the freshwater fish, is it?
The Russians have been polluting it for years, and they pretty well killed a lot of them. I mean, there's still fish, but not like there used to be. I mean, obviously there are a lot of herring, but it's not like it used to be. But it's, as I said, it's freshwater, and it's very cold, and people ice skate from island to island. There's no tide.
Amazing. That summer is just 2 months, I guess.
No, their summer really starts in early May. Their season is about the same as ours, May through into October. And actually, the warmer months are May and June, and September and into October. It's colder in July for some reason. Okay, well, thank you all for.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.